If you're looking for a way to plan for 3 kids, work and school, or multiple projects or people all in one place, then this video is for you. Well, hello, Planner Bestie. Today I just wanted to show an example of ways that you could use your Wonderland 222 when you are needing a multi-planner, so to speak. Now, when I say multi-planner, I mean if you're planning for multiple people or multiple projects. And so I just want to show you a couple of different ways that you can do that. So the first way is to use colors or markers. And so if you just come over here and you have a code for each person in the family. So a lot of times moms will need a multi-planner type of system. Oop, that's the same color. To plan for their husband, themselves, and a child or two. So I'm just gonna scratch out this one because that's literally the same color as that one up there. So we'll say hubby, mom, child. And you obviously don't have to write with the marker itself. You could also make your key over here like so, or you could just have a general key. It just depends if you want to change your color up from week to week. Then you would obviously need a key for that week, or if you keep a consistent color throughout the year for each person, then you wouldn't need to do that. Now, another example of those colors, like maybe you want one color to really kind of pop on the page because that's your schedule, and maybe you need your schedule to just pop off of the page. So maybe you would just choose a really bright color that kind of pops out, right? So mom, hubby, and child. All right, so then now when it comes to this, there's two things that I want to show you in terms of using a multi-planner. Number one is you can use these colors very simply. So let's say you want to know like your work schedule for you, your work schedule for hubby, and the child's activities and school schedule. So this is mom's color. So let's say mom is working some odd hours. On Monday, she's working 11 till 1900. That wasn't a very straight line that I drew there, but you could do a better job than me. And maybe mom is off on Tuesday, and then she's working, what is that, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She's working until 8 o'clock. From 9 till 8, just pulling a heavy shift. And then she's off the next day, and then she's working from 7 till 1500. And then she's off for the weekend. But let's say mom then needs to run an errand, and she's not working, but she's not available on this day. So you could either draw a line like this, just to indicate for this hour and a half I'm not available, or you could do some other things, but let's go ahead and fill in dad or hubby. Now I made the line next to over here. You can see I did it right next to the numbers so that the numbers aren't darkened out. Like if you have a really dark marker, it might sort of black out the hours, and so you want to maybe use the column over. But you've got enough columns here in this particular planner for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, or 6 projects, or 6 activities. In the stacked version, I'll show you right to fast. In the stacked version, now this is a next year's planner, you would have enough columns for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people, 9 projects, 9 activities. And then of course Wonderland 222 has a vertical, and so if you just wanted to, if you want to do it in a vertical format, that's possible too. For vertical, you could, let me get a lighter high, I'm going to use this one. You could, I mean, gosh, you could really go all out, but see how they've sectioned this off? You could use this left side for you, and the middle for your hubby, and the right for your child. So that's one way that you could do it, where you wouldn't have to color code at all. Or if you wanted more space to do maybe some health tracking over here, you could do a column for you here, and then just say 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then a column for hubby, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then a column for child. I'm trying to find I had like a gray color out earlier. Here, we'll do purple. And let's say child goes to school at 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So you can do it by color like that, or you could do it like this section is yours, and then let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's 20. So you go 10, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, honestly, I don't even know. You don't need to like separate this out evenly. You could even just go over three or four lines and draw a line down the page. I'm just gonna do it on this, right? And then make this for hubby. And then over here, you could make this for, we'll say your son, for your son. And then you've got this line already drawn here. And so then you could just write in like, there's an appointment on this day for him. There's an appointment on this day for him. Or here's his work shift, you know, however you want to do it. But there's like lots of options with this horizontal layout. And then you have a whole page over here for the rest of this week to make notes in regards to that. And you could, again, section the notes out by columns, or you could section them out by color coding or by symbols. So you could also have symbols. Anyhow, on the stacked version, the columns are much wider. So you could literally like draw a line down the column and use half for you, half for your spouse. Or another way that you could do it is you could write it sideways. And so I'll demonstrate that here because that's my 2026 planner that I have over there. But let's say you've got your work schedule here, and you could write over top of this work, mom, work, mom, Or if you just know that this is your work, or you know that that's your color for mom, you could just write work. And then here you have an appointment, and so you can say doctor, right? And you can get creative with it. Like you could even, so if you make the left side mom, the right side hubby, you could use the same color of pen, right? If I know that when I'm in this column, this is mom's stuff, and over on this column is dad's stuff, and maybe in the middle column it's the child's stuff, like let's say for every other column. And then to the right of that column you can write in what it is. So this is work, this is school, and dad would need to be right here so that you could write it in. So let me fix that. Let's say dad's working right here. So that could be work. So you always know that this column is dad, this column is mom, and this column is child. So you don't even have to color code. As long as you use the same column consistently, then you would be able to see what's going on for any person. Now this also can apply to projects. If you have project 1, project 2, project 3, and sometimes that project might not, maybe not that you're working each project, but could be that you're having a piece of a project 2 delegated to someone else, and that's happening here while you're working on project number 1. So that's one way. The other way is that you could use pens. So if you didn't have markers or didn't want to invest a lot of money in markers, you could use, in fact, I'm just going to make it easy. I mean, you could get some colored pens like this, but you could also just use a multi-pen. So a pen that has black, blue, and red. And, you know, there's pens that have like 4 different colors, black, blue, red, and green. You can buy refills for pens and choose your own colors. So I'll show you an example of that. Is a pen that I got off of Jet Pens, and I wanted to have some other colors besides the standard black, blue, and red, and this pen actually holds 4 colors. Not only does it hold 4 colors, it's actually a little bit thinner around than this one. So this is one of my favorite pens because it just feels good in my hand. I did get this off of Jet Pens, and Jet Pens also has pens like this. This one came with a different planner, but the pen style itself, Uniball, is available. I think it's called a Uniball Jetstream. And this is a uni style fit. And so this one allows 4 colors. I have green, blue, purple, and pink. I haven't used this pen in quite some time, so we'll see if it writes. And then this one has 3 colors, just red, blue, and black. And it might not actually have those 3 colors in it because sometimes I just put like a thicker black and a thinner black. So we'll use this one because I know it's got 4 colors in it because I can see it. So you would just have one pen to carry around, and you would have those colors. So if mom is blue, we could put mom's schedule right here. She's going 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. And maybe mom just has a very consistent work schedule until Wednesday, and then she gets off on Wednesday. So you could even just put an indicator here, off work. And then she works Friday, and then she's off and off. Okay, and then maybe hubby is purple, and so we want to leave a line right here in case you want to make any notes for that column. So if you want to notate that this is work, then you could just go like this. Or maybe you just want to never notate it unless it's something that's not work, and then you want to notate it. So let's say on Wednesday you're off work, but also you have a doctor's appointment at 2 p.m. So you could just put doctor. Now, then you're kind of wondering, like, how will I know what doctor it is? You could put a little code here, so maybe a square or a star, and then down here, you can say Dr. Jekyll at 400 North Main. So you could do it that way. Or there's another way you can do it, and I'll show you that in a minute. So let's say dad is purple. So that's mom's schedule. And then now we know that dad is going in at 9 a.m. and he's going to be working until 1600. And maybe dad is off on this day. And then dad works 7 a.m. until 1600. Oh, my purple's running out. And so you could again come here and say work, 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 work. Maybe I need to change dad to green because purple's running out. Eek. Yeah, purple's running out. We'll pretend this is purple. So we've got maybe dad goes in at 2 p.m. this day and works the late night shift and a lot of hours. So work. And then dad is off on Friday, off on Saturday, off on Sunday. And then maybe you have now your child. So let's choose pink for the child. So maybe in this scenario you have a girl, I don't know, or a boy, pink, whatever. And child goes to school 8 a.m. till, it doesn't show up very well, till 1500. So you could draw a line, or you could, and let's say child has a doctor's appointment on, like, do you really have to put school? I don't know. Maybe you just want to say, okay, maybe school is out on Wednesday. And so you would just put school, no school. That's not showing up very well. Let me see if I can get, I'll grab a different color, but you get the idea. You could literally have one pen to do all of this. But for the sake of this video, since the pink isn't showing up, we're going to grab this brown. And so school here, and you might not even need to put school. Just know that this is the column for your kid, and you know, if there is no school, you would probably want to notate that. But I mean, obviously you can do how it works best for you. And so you would even, let's see, if it was me, I would be like, these two columns are moms, these two are dads, and these last two are kids. And so I would even do something like this to notate, like, this is kid column, because then here at 11 a.m. to 1 you have soccer practice. And then maybe on Sunday at 1500 you have, oops, should be right here, you have dance class. And then here you've got school again, but on this day school lets out early, so somebody needs to be there to pick up at 1 o'clock, and luckily mom is off at 1 o'clock. So so that's one way that you can do it with just a multi-pen, and you would only have to carry one pen. Now, in terms of details, so let's say, I mean, obviously you have all of this space down here, you know, for details. I mean, typically things don't typically get scheduled after like 8 p.m. So that's 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So that would be your cutoff. And so anything after this line, you would have all of that space to write in details. And I actually draw a horizontal line in my planner to sort of show that I have this space down here, right? If I want to make any notes, or if I want to do a weekly review or whatever. So that's one way that you can do details. You can now put details to stuff down here. Another way that you can do it is the Wonderland 222 has numbered pages in the back. They're not dated, they're numbered. And what is fabulous about that is that if you wanted to come here and put details, then you could say page 542. So I know that page 542 goes to this day, or if you wanted to, you could over here say page 542, and you know that page 542 goes to this week. So any notes that you need to make for this week, so let's say 542 goes to this week. Any notes that go to this week can be on page 542. And this is week 3. We're in January. This is week 3 out of 52. So week 3, you could do it that way, or you could say week of October 13th. And so then you can come in here and say, the doctor is at 1440 North Main. And then if you needed to, you could write that in the color of mom for that doctor appointment, right? So if you have a page per day, there's enough in Wonderland 222's all-in-one planner that you could have a page per day. Then you could actually come in here and be like, okay, on Wednesday, instead of, having this be a weekly note, you would put, here's the date. So it'd be 1/15/2025. And then your appointment is at 1400 or 2 o'clock. So you just go like this, and then you could put a note out here that says, Dr. Jekyll at 1440 North Main. And then any questions that you want to ask the doctor, you could put it over here, and so on and so forth. So you could use this page to make notes about that day, or you could use a page to make notes about the entire week. Whatever way works for you. Then that also leaves you space to maybe add a little picture or do some memory keeping or health tracking or whatever. But if you get the all-in-one, you literally have a page per day plus a few extras. This all-in-one is big enough for that. If you get their core planner, then you would have less pages. The core planner is this thick versus this thick. And so you would have 88 pages in the back. But you would have all of the page numbers, and you would be able to reference back and forth, just like in the all-in-one. The layout and everything of the planner is the exact same. The only difference between a core and an all-in-one is that the all-in-one has more pages in the back. So a few things to decide when you're looking at Wonderland 222 is, do I want the thick book or the thin book? Do I need more pages in the back or not? Because you could do 1 page per day like I just showed you, or maybe you just want to do like a little quarter of, like, each quarter of this page could give you notes for the day. And if that were the case, then you could get by with a core, and that would be plenty enough. If you just strictly want a scheduler, then a core would be just fine for that. So do you want, a thick one or a thin one? Do you want what size do you want, because Wonderland 222 has B6 size. They have A5 size, so quite large with plenty of space. Again, the design is the exact same, right? It's the exact same. Oops, that's the monthly overview. I'll have to show you that in a minute. Where you get all of your columns for the day and all of your times, and then you have the numbered pages in the back, but there's just a lot more space. So if you write bigger, or you have more people or projects to track, then maybe the A5 size is the size that you would want. Then there's the B6 size, which is this size. Or you maybe want an A6 size. This is one of their notebooks, but this would be an A6 size. And so you would want to decide how thick do you want the planner. Then you would want to decide what size do you want, how big, how tall and how wide do you want the planner. And then you would decide what type. Do you want stacked weekends or non-stacked weekends? So these are basically the three sizes that Wonderland 222 comes in: A5, B6, A6, okay? And then it'll come in a thick or thin. So the thin is called core and the thick is called all-in-one. So this would be the thick, and one of these would be the thin, okay? So this is the all-in-one, this is the core. And then you would decide, do you want a vertical layout like this, where there's columns, or do you want a horizontal layout like this, where you get the horizontal and like this whole page to either section out or just write everything all over the whole page for the week. So each week looks like this. You have the horizontal, and then you have a free page for the week. Horizontal, free page for the week. And then if you decide you want a vertical layout, then you would need to decide, do I want stacked weekends? Like, see how the weekends are here stacked, which gives you a wider column, or do you want unstacked weekends? And this is what the unstacked weekend looks like, where you get columns for every single day of the week, but the columns are a little bit less wide. So those are your options with Wonderland 222. It's a fabulous planner. It's a fabulous company. They are a trustworthy company. They are the first company in the United States to create a Tomoe River paper planner. And just what that means, it's very thin type of paper that can give you a less heavy, more condensed book, so you can fit more pages per book in a thinner format. In 2026, they do have a different type of paper, but it's still that thin type of paper, so that you could fit an entire year in just this much space. And so it's the B6 size is very portable. It's very manageable if you figure out ways to use this space wisely, like kind of some of the ways we've talked here. But if you're not used to that, then maybe an A5 size would be beneficial to start with, and then you can work your way up or down. So those are some ways to use the Wonderland 222 as a multi-planner, or for multiple people or multiple projects. You would just take the same concept that we've talked about for the people and just lay it over the concept of a project, right? Now, I'll just show you a quick walkthrough of the full Wonderland 222. So you can see like what is around everything that I've just showed you, because they have some signature layouts in their planner that they have in all of their planners that are quite fabulous. And if you want to learn more about the Wonderland 222, so there's lots of videos on my channel about their planner. You can obviously go to wonderland222.com. So in the beginning of, so this right here is the core. The only difference between this and an all-in-one is that there are less pages in the back, less of these free pages, okay? So in the beginning, you have an index. So this is really kind of designed as a hybrid Bujo planning system. So you can use the bullet journal method with this planner. And so they've given you, actually it's not the beginning, they have given you a space to have an index and also a space to keep your key. So if you're going to use the same color for hubby and mom and child all throughout the year, maybe you want those colors here in your key so that you know when I look through, these are the colors that go to what. Or if you have colors that you want to apply to a project, or if you have symbols that you want to apply. And I would highly recommend looking up the bullet journal method if you're not familiar with it, because that also is a key, would apply to that method of journaling and planning. And then so there's an index. So if you wanted to index any of these pages in the back with some important information, then you would just say page 238 and then whatever topic that you wanted to index. And if you had that topic on, you know, this page and then that topic 5 pages later, then you would put 238 and then 244, 1 for 2, 243. You know, you could just put the topic name and then 238, comma 243, comma, you know. And so if you needed to have that same topic carry over to different pages, it doesn't matter. Like, you can start a topic on page 200 and then continue planning regularly for the next 3 pages, and then on page 204 you've filled this page up, you just carry over onto page 204 and then you would go add that to your index. And so you never have to worry about, like, I need to save X number of pages for this topic. You don't need to worry about it, because you can just pick up where you left off and then you have an index to notate that. So then next you get a 4-year layout. So you'll see last year, which is darkened out, so you know that it's already happened. And then this year, and then you'll see next year and the year after next. And so some people will cover these pages up with, you know, whatever, something pretty, some sort of tracker, some sort of quote, some sort of overview. But another way that you can use these, since there's already calendars there, is to either use a marker or a dot marker and use them as trackers. So maybe this one you're tracking for hubby, and this one you're tracking for your child, and then this one you're tracking for yourself. And or maybe you want to track your menstrual cycle, and you want to track, you know, your workout days, and you want to track I don't know what, your cheat days, your diet cheat days. And then you could just come through and either like circle that day, right? You would just put your title up here, legs, cheat day, whatever you're tracking, menstrual. And then you would just go circle the days. So you don't have to have any special kind of marker. If you wanted to, you could use a dot marker to dot them out. Or maybe you want to see, like, okay, this is my overview of travel for the year. This is my overview of my work schedule for the year. Or this is husband's overview of his work schedule and my overview of my work schedule. The only thing is, when you do that, you just have to ignore the days. So we know on this year, Thursday starts on the 1st, but obviously up here, Thursday is the 2nd. And so if you're using it as a tracker, you would just consider it as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So just say, okay, on Monday, I did it. On Monday in the first week of this month, I did it. On Tuesday, you know, whatever. Like, you wouldn't use the actual dates because the dates are not going to match this year, I guess is my point. But there's a lot of ways that you can use this creatively. And there are also places that you can get, like, stickers to cover this. Mandy Lynn Plans would be one of those places. I believe she has stickers to cover these. If not, you could even make one yourself and then cover it up, and then you can make your own tracker where the dates actually match this year's dates, if that's something you wanted to do. I just use it as a tracker as it is, and I just say, okay, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, And then I would scratch out like the rest of the week that's, you know, it doesn't apply. If in 2026, January has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, then I'm just gonna assume that. But in some of these, surely there's 1 month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. All of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like all of these have 5 weeks, so you would just use all 5 weeks. All right, next you have a yearly overview. There's a name for this layout, but I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called a yearly codex. And again, people use this for all sorts of things. Some people use it to track their bills. Some people use it to track their travel. I have in times past used it to track my projects, my travel. Some people use it for birthdays. They'll put in like the birth date, the name of the people on that birthday. But for me, again, there's space down here. You could do like a little coding system, right? And you could, let me grab a different planner because again, this will be my 2026 planner. And so let me show you an example here. I just need a sticky note to cover up something private that I have in mind for this year. Okay, so this is this year's 2025, and so I didn't use this year, but last year I traveled a lot, and so I had my travel schedule. You know, I had my travel schedule all through that. If you're a student, or if you have somebody that's a student, like maybe you want to track your classes or your semesters. And so mine would look something like this. Like I would know that I'm traveling on these dates. And if I use color coding, then I could say, okay, this is my travel to Massachusetts, and this is my travel for business, and you know, so on. This one is for vacation, and so on and so forth. So you can also use this to track your menstrual cycle. You can track multiple things on this page, because if you use that same sort of column color coding system, then you know. So February 6th to the 9th, I traveled for business. April 7th to the 9th, I traveled for business. And maybe you want to put your, I don't know, some sort of expense down here. Or maybe you want to refer to page 204. That's going to tell you more about that travel, right? And maybe you're like, okay, well, how would I differentiate between this travel and this travel if it's all blue? Well, maybe you want to refer to page 204 for travel A, and then maybe this will be travel B, so you would refer to page 300 for travel B, right? There's all sorts of ways that you can like sort of code things, and then you would just go over to page 204. And for me, I refer to both. So if I have this referring to page 204, when I get to page 204, I'll also refer back to page 8 so that I am very clear on what it is that I'm talking about. So anyhow, that's your yearly codex. There's lots and lots of ways that people do this, but it's great to see like an overview of anything that you want to track. And then you have quarterly layouts where you will see for this quarter. So you could do some like quarterly planning, and they've actually sectioned this out. So this is January, February, and March for the quarter. And so you've got a space here for January, February, and March if you choose to do it that way. So if you want to track birthdays, if you want to track bills, maybe you want to put over here when the bill is due, and how much, and then over here how much you paid on what date. Or if you want to, again, track a project, travel, children's activities, family activities, you could do that color coding like we talked about, but it just gives you that 3-month view. And so they have a page for each quarter, or maybe you have a health goal, or maybe you're tracking your workouts, right? So there is a page for each quarter, and then you go into like one notes page and then your trackers. And so the trackers is, again, if you want to track, like now I have the steps to my project and I need to see an overview. So you could do it one of a few ways. You can use it to track habits. Let me see if I can find a blank one. Right. You can use it to track habits. You can use it to track projects. You can use it to track medications. You can use it to track medications for your child or your husband or whatever, right? So if you have, let me see if I have one for earlier this year, because I was traveling earlier this year, and so I didn't use my tracker. So let's say you have medicine A and medicine B, and then you have like I want to have this daily habit of walking, and so I'm going to track that to keep it on the forefront of my mind. Or maybe you want to track, if you have health issues or chronic health issues, maybe you want to track your digestion. And so you could have little codes and see how they're spaced down here. So if you're tracking your digestion, maybe you could go by the Bristol, what is it called? The Bristol chart. And you could have a code down here for like each one of the states on the Bristol chart with a description. And then up here, so you could track like, okay, here I was 1, or maybe you're tracking it for your child. And here I was a 5 on the Bristol chart, and here I was a 1. Yeah, I was pretty good here. And so if you're tracking digestion, and then maybe down here you're tracking your sleep, like you might start to see, you know, and maybe you want to track your mood. And so here you could also have a code for your mood. And again, like maybe 1 to 4. So 1 is like sad, anxious, angry, peaceful, happy. Or you could just put, you know, you can make it whatever you want to make it. And so you can track your mood. And so if you start to see like, okay, my mood is really sad on these days, and I'm actually happy on this day, and I'm kind of anxious on these days, like you might start to see a correlation between like your digestion and your mood. Science does point to correlations there. And so those are some cool ways, just a very quick overview of how you could use a tracker. So next, let me get that planner back out. So we've gone through the index, we went through the 4-year, the yearly codex, the quarterlies, and then the trackers, okay? And so after the trackers, so you'll have a tracker for each month. So you would just go through all of the trackers for each month, right? Then you have another notes section. So maybe you want, like, these are my annual goals, or this is my vision board, or, you know, however you want that. Or you could use this for future planning. So anytime, like when you get to the end of this year and you're making appointments for the following year, you could come in here and put those here so that you know when you migrate to the following year's planner, these are all of your future appointments. So then you have, for every month, you'll have an overview and a review. So here we are starting out in December. You have an overview. Wonderland 222 has really kind of sectioned it out for you. Like, it's like structured freedom. And so if you're, you know, having something for each family member, then you've got sections here where you can, I'm not sure if the lighting is showing up very well, so let me grab a white piece of paper to put under here and see. there, you can see it better. So you see these little boxes right here. So you can use these boxes, one per person. If you want to notate something about the month for a specific person. Some people use these for memory keeping. You can use it for like an overview look ahead of what's up for that person's. You can use it for health tracking or goals. So maybe you have some goals with your health, like goal number 1, goal number 2, goal number 3, goal number 4. I've used it before for tracking domains of life. And so like, this is how my relationship, this is what's up in my career, this is what's up in my motherhood or community, or friendships or social life, and so on and so forth. You can really get creative with it. I've also used it for projects. So project management, like project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4. Like, this is my top 3 things that I want to get done for this project this month. And then that would be like a breakdown of my quarterly goals for that project. And so there's so many ways that you can use this page, and then there's a column here and a column here, and then sort of a square here. So you could track a gratitude per day if you wanted to. You could track your bills. Some people use this page to track their bills. You could have a column for mom, a column for dad, and then a column for child, and then use this down here in whatever way you wanted to. You could use it for memory keeping. There's tons and tons and tons of ways that you could use it. So there's the overview, and then you head into your monthly spread. And so you get to see your month. And then you go into your weekly spread, and then you'll see all of your weeklies for that particular month. And I really like it that the moon, they track the moon phases in here. So you get like, there's the new moon, quarter, there's the full moon. So I appreciate that. I really like keeping up with the moon cycles. They tell you, you get a view of the month over here. It's circled on which month you're on, or excuse me, which week you're on. Over here, it also tells you you're on week 52 of 52. This is, the planner starts out with the last few weeks of December from the previous year. So if it's a 2026 planner, then it'll start out with December of 2025, just the last few weeks of it, to help you have that adjustment time. If you don't need those, then you could use, cover these pages with stickers or a vision board or whatever, trackers or whatever you would want to use it for. But a lot of people like to just go ahead and move over in December. They don't have the last few weeks. They actually have the entire December month of 2025. I like to move over, and then if you do move over, then you could use the last, the December of this one, if you know that you're going to move over again for something else if you wanted to. I use both. I move over, and then I use the December back here to future plan, and then I move over early again when the next year comes. But so you'll get a weekly layout for each week. And then you'll get a December review. So if you're using the overview for goal setting, like so here, if I had project 1 goal, project 2 goal, then I could use this to reflect on where I'm at with my goals. If you're using it for health goals, you could use this to reflect like, okay, here's where I started. This is where I'm at now. And now I'm headed into January. Now these are my goals, right? You could use it that way. Or if you're using it for like your husband, your child, then over here, maybe you want to like do a memory keeping, a little like, here's something that happened that I really appreciate about my husband this month, or really appreciate about my child this month, and I really celebrate myself for this month. So that's just, again, some ideas. So then you'll have the overview for the next month, and then you have the monthly view, and then you go into the weekly views. And it goes like that all the way through to the end of the year. The tabs are marked right here, so you don't have to have tabs if you don't want to, because you get them right here. It tells you exactly what week you're on out of 52, and it tells you the month and the number of the month. And then back here it tells you that you're on the daily pages. And again, all of the pages are numbered. So you can see we got all the way through to the end of December, and then you have your December review, and then you have your blank pages. So maybe you want to leave this page blank to start like thinking about the following year. And then there's all of these pages back here. Again, if you're using the core, you would have 88 free pages in the back. If you're using the all-in-one, you would have like 376 pages in the back, I believe. I think your blank pages start on page 200. And also, by the way, the planner takes art really well. And so you can even do a little bit of art in the back if that tickles your fancy. Yeah, so it starts at page 200. Yeah, 201 to 576. So that's quite a few pages in the back if you get the all-in-one. But I personally love the all-in-one. I'm just trying something different this year. Wonderland 222 also has notebooks that you can get. And so I kind of am trying out this year of doing a 192 page notebook with a core planner. And so this gives me the freedom. This is actually less pages than the all-in-one, so it's a little bit lighter. And I also have the freedom to be able to pull this book out and put a new book in if I don't want to, if I fill this up. But if I don't fill it up, then I still just have a very compact, simple planner. So that's kind of cool. So that is the basic way that the layout goes. That was for an unstacked weeks, but it is the exact same for the stacked weekend. And it is the exact same for the horizontal. So this is the horizontal. So if you look, you'll see the exact same. You've got your key, you've got your index, you've got the 4-year overview, you've got the yearly codex, you've got your quarterlies, and then you'll have your trackers, and then you'll have December overview, and then your weeks, and then your December review, your January overview, your January month, and then your weeks, and so on and so forth until you get to the very end, December. And so the free pages start on page 199 in the horizontal and end on page 288. And so then the next one is the stacked weekends, which your layout would look like this. It's just that the weekends are stacked, so your columns are a little bit more wide. But again, it's the exact same front matter, which is your index, your key. It starts with a key. Then a few pages of index, your 4-year view, your yearly codex, your quarterlies, your trackers, your December overview. I just have already started to do art in this one, and then your weeklies. Like here's some of my art in one of my weekly spreads. So there's all of December weekly, and then your December review overview, your month, your weeklies, and then it'll go on just like that for all of your monthly review, your next month overview, your month, your weeklies, and so on and so forth. They all have the holidays in there. They all have the moon phases in there. And so this goes on until the end. And so I was kind of playing with this. I drew these in like, okay, what if I just used 1/2 of a page for each week? I think that's all I would probably need. How many pages would I have left at the end that are blank pages? And by doing that, I just meant like I'll draw the page in half and I'll use just this and this for this week, this for the next week. That ends on page 225, so that still leaves me from page 225 until page 288 if I had not already been doing pen testing and art back here. That leaves me from page 225 to page 288 to use this for whatever I would want. So any notes, any tracking, any doctor's appointment notes, anything. So that is an overview of the Wonderland 222 planners and some ways that you can use it as a multi-planner or a multi-scheduler or a scheduler and planner for multiple people. Just a very high level overview of the different layouts and types of books that you can get, sort of different combinations. Like in this one, I have a 2 planner system. So I have a core planner on one side, which is a horizontal, and then I have a core planner on the other side, which is a vertical with stacked weekends. And so it's another way that you could use as a, to like maybe you want to track or plan husband and mom over here and child over here. I'm thinking of using this as like a journal because these are wide enough to journal. And then over here, tracking health related stuff. But I'm also considering using this for project related stuff because I can put all of my weekly tasks here and then specific tasks for the day over here and then have my scheduler be over here. So there's lots of different ways that you could use it. And then there's also the option to have a core with a notebook that you can switch out from time to time. So I didn't use the best of colors to demonstrate, so I just wanted to capture one right here to show you how beautiful that a layout like that can look and how you can connect the dots. So maybe on this day, dad is taking child to dance while mom goes to yoga. And on this day, mom is taking child to soccer practice while dad chills somewhere. And over here, obviously dad would be taking child to dance while mom goes to yoga. So you don't even necessarily have to draw that line. Here, it's very clear and obvious that mom is taking child to the doctor appointment to see Dr. Jekyll at 400 West Main, and don't forget the papers. And then here we've got a several day event that's happening in town, and so we're all gonna go as a family to the film festival. And then we have date night here with mom and dad while child goes to mom's house for babysitting. So this is just one example of how you could use the Wonderland 222 for family planning. You could also scrunch all of these lines together on here, have them one next to the other. If you're using a light enough color, you don't need that extra line here. You could just make the notes right in line with the highlighter itself. And if you had all of these together, then you would have the other half of this to make any notes. So you could make notes this way vertically to yourself. So one option of how to use the Wonderland 222 as a family planner, household planner. There's some really good options in here in terms of, using the trackers for family stuff as well, having that yearly overview. So maybe if you had a lot of you know, soccer practices or something like that you just need to see like a yearly overview, or even just a 3-month overview of like, this is what our life looks like this quarter. So yeah, I hope that this video has been helpful for you. If it has, I would really love it if you could give it a thumbs up. A thumbs up really helps my channel. It helps my channel to get visibility, but it also helps the products that are listed in my videos. This is not a sponsored video. I just do these videos because I'm passionate about living a good quality life and planning and art and all things like that. So if you want to subscribe, if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and if you want to check out my other videos on the channel about Wonderland 222, but equally important, there is a Wonderland 222 Facebook page that I have linked to down below. That you can go check out, and there are several people in that page come and share their spreads, and we all inspire one another. There are so many really smart planners, creative planners, inspirational planners. Everybody has their own flavor and sense of creativity, and it's just very inspiring to be a part of that group. So come on over to the Wonderland 222 community so you can find other ways that you can use the planner and other possibilities, and hopefully you will come and join us. And I will see you next time, and until then, I'm sending you lots and lots of love. Bye.